I've been waiting for this one for a long time. It's the Ultra Superior 7, and it's a favorite of mine. The Superior line has long been great for my feet, and I love it purely because of that normal Ultra kind of shape, that flexibility, and that cushion that we see through there. It's minimal, but it's still got a little bit of protection under there. So I think the first place to start is the fit because this has been a major difference between the Superior 6 and the 7, and I think it will fit a lot more people now. So if you had the Superior 6 previously, you will know that it was quite a shallow shoe. And what that means is basically this upper is very constricting, specifically over the top of the midfoot here, but also into the toe box as well. I still liked the shoe, but I always told people just take that insole out and basically replace it with something thinner. And that just allowed a few extra millimeters in volume, which just made it into a shoe that's potentially an option for people. Well, I'm happy to say that the 7 is actually a deeper shoe in general. It's definitely not the same as a Lone Peak. It's still quite shallow, but it's a little bit more flexible in the upper, which is allowing for a better fit for, I would say, more people. So when you do first try this on, it may still feel a little shallow, specifically through that toe box around here. But I found after about 10 to 15 kilometers of running, it already started to pack down and I got more and more volume as I got up to that 50k mark. First, I did switch out that insole because I thought I would have to do it. And you know what? The second run in, I decided, no, I'm going to put it back in there. And I've got a good lockdown since that point. So when you first put it on, just remember it will still feel a little tight over the top of the foot. And if you do have that shallow foot and you're looking for an ultra trail shoe, this is likely one of the only options, or probably one of the better options that you're going to find. When it comes to the ultra foot shape, well, we still have it. It's still nicely squared off around that big toe. It tapers a little aggressively, maybe a bit too much for some people. But if that is you, then just get it a half size larger and you'll have a little bit of extra length in there. I still found it pretty similar to the 6. I don't think it's changed that much. Would say it doesn't have the depth of, say, the Lone Peak, but it's more similar to the Timp. And like I said, this upper is a lot more lightweight now. It's a lot more flexible as well. So it just allows for a slightly more relaxed feel and fit underfoot. Even if you do have that slightly wider midfoot, which I do have an average size midfoot, and I still found that the upper material allowed me to stretch out those sides and it didn't feel uncomfortable at all. Looking into the heel, I think this has gained a tiny bit of structure in comparison to the Superior 6, but as you can see, it's still quite flexible. So it's definitely not a structured heel, but it's also not as minimal as I'd say the 6 was. But still, I found a really good heel lock. I do put the lace lock in there. I loop around on that second eyelet and then come round. And that lace lock definitely helps a lockdown and a perfected fit. But in general, I love the fit of the Superior. It fits my foot really, really well. It's a medium depth in terms of the heel there, which creates a great lockdown for me. It's kind of fitted around the midfoot, but relaxed around those sides so it doesn't feel too constricting. And then just enough toe depth and toe width in there so it doesn't feel like you're swimming, but you can move those toes around. So it's kind of like a balance of all of the aspects across the Ultra line. And I think it works really well. It's worth noting that they've gone away from this burrito tongue, which was attached down the side on the Superior 6. It's now just a normal tongue in there, and that likely leads to a better fit in general, or just like a more flexible fit that will fit more people. I kind of understand why they've gone that way. But for me, there's probably not much else to talk about in the fit. It's still similar to the Superior with a bit more flexibility and volume. Okay, let's talk about the feel of the Ultra Superior. So there are two major aspects here to talk about: the outsole and then the midsole, and I suppose the upper as well. Let's make it three. So first of all, the big update is basically the outsole. And yes, this is still the max track. If you're looking for a Vibram outsole, well, look elsewhere. I've made quite a bit of content around that and how I think the max track actually does a decent job anyway. So this is the max track outsole that we see on the Superior. And the major difference is that it's changed the lug pattern. So it's just that tiny bit more aggressive than what it used to be. 1 minute. And what it used to be on the Superior 6 was these really wide but very rounded and not very deep lugs. And that really didn't work very well on many trail conditions, to the point of where I only ran it in the dry and I didn't really want to touch much mud or even loose dirt at all. So this update here, you can see the wider, bigger lugs. It did a really great job in the dry for me. I'm not quite sure it's still the one for the wet, but it will actually deal with a little bit of moisture a little more and a little bit of loose mud. So a really good update there. Midsole to me feels that tiny bit softer, and with that softness comes a lot more ground feel. And the reason why you get more ground feel is because it's thin. It's only 21 millimeters, and I say only, it's still for me a large stack 8, but for most people that is a very minimal shoe for them. And that will mean that when you step on rocks, you will feel them. And that is not a bad thing because you can actually adapt to that rock and dance around them basically. So with that slightly softer midsole, you will feel a lot more. And we've gone away from the Superior that used to have the rock plate through it. It doesn't have one anymore. So you definitely just will feel underfoot. I'm going to say it again. Not a bad thing. That's a good thing, in my opinion. And then this upper, I did mention it in the fit, it also affects the feel as well. So one, I'd say, detracting point from having a more relaxed kind of fit up on the upper is that when you're on the downhills, you slide around on top of that base that tiny bit more. On the Superior 6, the upper, especially around this midfoot area, is solid. It's super solid, it's quite thick at the same time, and you are locked in place. You would not move. And to be honest, I will still run this Superior 6 in dry conditions because of that. I love the fact that I can be locked into place. This more flexible upper did mean that I slid around a little more. Not as much as I'd say the Lone Peak, which I find a little bit loosey-goosey, but I found myself slipping forward just that little bit in the shoe. Do ensure you get a good lockdown in this. You likely will because of the depth. But it's just something just to keep in mind. So let's jump into the durability of the shoe. So it's probably worth noting first that this is a $120 shoe. It's cheap in terms of trail shoes, pretty good. It's 230 grams, so that's a super lightweight, I would say, for a trail shoe as well. So you're not going to expect that this is going to go the distance. An option for those shorter days for most of us. Personally, I'll use it for super long distance, but it's all dependent on your body and how you feel in the shoe and what you're used to. How minimal are you used to going? Anyway, that's a different matter. But let's first look at the outsole. So the durability of the outsole, I think it'll do fairly decently actually. So the lugs are a little bit wider. A little bit more surface area there, so you're not going to see a huge amount of wear if you do run it on harder packed surfaces. So I wouldn't say run it on the road, but if you do hit the road every now and then, it's not such a bad thing. Also, it covers most of the outsole as well. So you don't have any exposed EVA, which can get cut up and chopped up. You've still got some lines with exposed EVA, and that just allows for a little bit more flexibility in there, which is actually a really nice feel. Midsole, I did say it was soft, and I think it will pack down fairly quickly. So that's pretty common with Ultras, I would say. And when you go more minimal, it actually allows it to pack down and it doesn't really matter too much. It means it doesn't feel as soft underfoot. It feels a bit flat, as some people would say, but you can still run it and it works okay. And the upper, well, because it is a little more lightweight, I do worry, especially around this toe box here and around the crease point of where that forefoot flex is. It could be a weak area. And you know what? We've seen Ultras blast out the side of those areas in the past. It probably is going to be the area that breaks down first in the Superior. But again, I point to the fact that this is the cheapest Ultra shoe that you can get. Or cheapest trail shoe. Is it the cheapest Ultra shoe? That's an interesting question. I'm not quite sure. But it's one of the cheaper Ultra shoes that you can get. And for the package that it delivers, I think it is still pretty good for the price. So for a conclusion, I'd say it's a mixed bag actually. There are certainly some aspects which are massive improvements. Well, one, the obvious improvement is it will fit more people. The original, or not the original, but the Superior 6 it was pretty much a no-go for many, many people purely because of that shallow depth. So I get it. I get why they changed it. It does mean that it detracts from that secure feeling a little more. You may slide around the inside the shoe a tiny bit more, but I will say it's going to be less than most other shoes out there. I'd say maybe the Timp 5 is one that I would say you get a better lockdown in. But that's about it from that Ultra range right now. Definitely not the Lone Peak. That's sloppy. The outsole, again, it's another game changer. So even though, yes, it's the Max Track, I don't care. It's still good and grippy. It works really well. It's a big upgrade from the Superior 6, and this is what the Superior needed in general. Another thing, the weight. It went from about 260, 265 in the Superior 6 to a 230 grams. That's really, really good. It does feel light. You can feel that weight straight out the box. It is definitely lighter. So another plus point. But again, there's always trade-offs to be had. So because it's a little more lightweight, we do have less material and probably less durability in the upper. So it's definitely worth keeping that in mind. So this is now a trail shoe in my rotation, and it's interesting because the Superior 6 will still be a trail shoe in my rotation too. So I'm not sure what that tells you, but I can say that the Lone Peaks are definitely not what I'm reaching for right now at all. If you want a more minimal shoe, if you want a flexible shoe, you want to feel the ground, you want a bit of grip, you want, I'd say, a pretty decent fit at the same time now, choose a Superior. Trust me.